Hey everyone, New England Gardening here. Today's Saturday, March 7th, 2020. And just got through putting some water in the bird bath there and some seed. It's been really windy. We had a nor'easter miss us, went out to sea, but we had a lot of wind here, some pretty good wind gusts, maybe 35, 40 mile an hour wind gusts. And these mourning doves just showed up, but I'm in the lean-to. It's 45 degrees out with some pretty good wind gusts still, but it's 77 degrees here in the lean-to, and my fig trees have broken bud, and yeah, they're starting to open up, especially with these temperatures. Like I said, 77 degrees. I turned off the fan there, which is the only circulation I have going on in here, and then I opened up some windows to get some, because it can get already too hot in here with a nice blue sky, which worries me sometimes. It's too hot in here. I'm meaning to get an exhaust fan installed with a thermostat on it. But yes, I have fig trees that are starting to break bud and leaf out, and I have some Brava figs here also. This one here is a Col de Dame Blanc, UC Davis. The Ponte Teresa was a big deal a while ago, and I don't see people talking about it anymore. So one year I had a lot of figs on it, and they were late in the season, so they got infected with fruit flies, and I think I sampled a couple of them, I don't recall. And then last year there was nothing, no figs. So I have also these Korean Avodia trees left over. I have one in the ground outside that survives no problem with New England winters, single-digit temperatures with whatever the calculated wind chills are during some good snowstorms. Although this year it's been relatively mild. We did have a couple of days of some single-digit temperatures. But yeah, my fig trees are all breaking bud, and even the Ponte Teresa there, I believe I'm seeing some Brava figs starting to form on that. So might have some figs to sample from that variety. I got rid of some of the figs trees I had. I'm down to this one Shea Black. I got rid of an older tree that was in the container like this size. Should be doing good because I think it went to Arizona. So that should produce some really nice figs in Arizona, because I think it needs the heat. This is Italian 258. Need to do some air layers too. Be a good time to do some air layers. It looks like there's a Brava fig on that, right there. Yeah, and I have on the other side here, the Black Madeira. So, yeah, so the Black Madeira are getting pretty big at the base there. And there's some Brava figs on this. Man, it's an ugly tree from, people ask about cuttings and stuff, but this is what happens. I mean, a tree that's in a container like this, they just don't take well to doing a lot of cuttings. I don't know how UC Davis, their trees are in the ground, so when they were providing cuttings, their trees, I'm sure like being pruned and put on additional growth. But let's see, what is this one here? Oh, this is the, don't tell me, this is the Zingarella. There's some Brava figs on this. Yeah, this usually puts out what happens, I think, is that initially when I have new soil in these pots, some of these trees can really produce heavily. The Zingarella was one of those cases where it didn't produce, and then all of a sudden one year I got Brava figs, and then I got a huge main crop, and then the next year I don't think I got Brava figs. I got a sort of good crop, but not what I had initially. So yeah, there's a lot of Brava figs on this tree being formed right now. There's some there. I really have to do some root pruning. Might be too late already. And get some new soil in these older figs here. These black banderas that I have probably would help with the production of some better figs. Yeah, so here's some more of the Korean Avodia trees that I started from seed last year. And yeah, they survive cold temperatures. Someone mentioned that they could be hybrids, but other than, I don't know what you would do, send it to a lab or something like that. I don't know how I would personally figure out if these are hybrid seeds. I guess the thought was that they're not going to produce flowers or not be true Korean Avodia trees. I don't know. But the one I have in the ground, this is either going to be the 4th. I'm pretty sure that this fall might be the 5th year for that tree, because there was a whole year, just like these, that I did not up-pot it, or I did up-pot it, but I didn't put it in the ground initially. I didn't start off by, first season putting it in the ground. So it might flower for me. If it's going to flower, this might be the first fall during the dearth. So it's over 5 feet tall. It's no dieback, and like I said, it really can take the New England cold. So hopefully, if that does flower, it'll provide some nectar for the dearth here in New England. This here is another Black Madeira. It's not looking too good, but I did start last year some air layers that did not take. Started them later in the season, so those should take starting this spring. Should form some nice roots. But yeah, that's about the extent of it. I haven't planted anything. I haven't started any seeds. Yeah. So I got rid of, like I said, a couple of fig trees because my back just can't take moving these out and around anymore. And this is what I have left. I did start, I guess I could do a quick update on the cuttings that I've started so far, have in the house, and show the progress on them. Yeah, might as well do that. So, yep, these are the figs leafing out here in the lean-to. And still possibility of getting a nor'easter. The grounds are bare so far, though. For the most part, this season here in New England. Let's go take a look at the figs inside. Oh, yeah, and real quick, I guess, I just sprayed the citrus down. This is what happens to citrus when you neglect it, and you can pretty much go through the winter, I've found, and just when spring hits, you can turn these citrus around, but they're starting to take a hit. I was surprised that even this one, but really there's not enough light. I'm not providing enough light. I'm getting dieback, I'm getting leaf drop, and probably should, it's so difficult to get this to transition into the house now because the roots are kind of dormant, but if the whole tree is at this temperature, I can make it into spring. But if I get this into the house now, it's so dry and warm in the house, that's going to be a big stress on the tree. I was actually thinking if it was a good idea to either somehow just line in a circle one of the heat mats on the edge, or maybe put it on a heat mat. I don't know, those heat mats, those small ones that have the sea starters, don't provide a lot of heat. But I was even thinking about putting some PVC pipe in a circle and having water flow, a warm water flow through. Have a reservoir with one of those pond heaters in it, and then circulate warm water in the pot. I was wondering if that would be an option. I wonder if that would even allow me to then keep it in the lean-to if I was able to keep the temperature above 32. But yeah, they're starting to show the stress of being here in the cellar, which is about 65 degrees. And if I can recall, I read that roots for citrus pretty much are shut down or are dormant below 70. So I think we've all, first-time citrus owners have brought a citrus home and have it here in cold temperatures in New England and have complete leaf drop. And that's because you put it in the sun, direct sun, on a southern-facing window, and then the sun falls on the leaves. The plant cannot provide enough moisture to the tree, so you essentially dry it out and shock it, and it drops all its leaves so to protect itself. But that's because the root mass is too cold and the top of the tree is too hot. So probably easier to transition by bringing it in before the temperatures drop in the fall into the house to acclimate. But yeah, I shake the trees, and this is the Meyer lemon tree, and this is the air layer. I'd hate to lose this air layer, but put on a lot of growth here. What is this? This is the Trevita orange air layer. But yeah, enough talking about this, and let's go and look at those figs real quick before this video is too long. So these are the fig cuttings that I started. I just misted this, and I did have some rot form, and then they came back. But what I did is, so I have these on here on the left that I took out of the original bin that had the older cuttings that I started, and put them in this. And then I started the ones here on the right. I started a couple of weeks ago, and I had them in the bins with the moss. And then as soon as I saw some root starts or some little nodules forming, I just said, well, let me go ahead and put them right into this bark soil mix and see if they make it. So I like the idea of, I know some people wrap these in paraffin wax tape to limit the amount of what's it called, desiccation, or amount of evaporation. That's the problem, is when you're trying to get the roots to form, if they're not in a humid condition, they might just dry out completely before they get a chance to get the roots formed and the plumbing started. But yeah, these cuttings here, I'm contemplating whether I need to put them in the other bin and start exposing them to drier elements, because they have enough roots on them, and I already had some rot form and leaf drop, and then they recovered again. Like this one here recently, I think this is an Icia Black. It dropped a leaf the other day, but it's got a nice green bud here. So that's the cuttings. So that's the amount of cuttings that I've started. And most of these are UC Davis Black Madeiras. Let's go look at the other ones. All right, so here are the four oldest, or the most, the ones I started the earliest. And even this one here, I dropped a leaf the other day, but they look like they're at a point where I've been opening this up. I might be able to go ahead and start putting these, I like to, see how they react by opening up the plastic here, the plexiglass, and lowering the humidity. See if I have any leaf starting to droop. This soil here, it's got so much perlite in it that it's deceiving. The leaves were drooping the other day, and I caught myself. I've had this happen in the past where I'm misting it and didn't realize that the pots were pretty much dried out. So I hurried up and watered them good underneath the sink, and they recovered. But this one here, I might have stressed it and it had one leaf drop. But they're at a point where I'm thinking, yeah, I can start just put these on the windowsill, or just keep this open, dry it, see how they react to low humidity, and start easing them into, it could be, just go ahead and put these in the lean-to. Put them on the bench in the lean-to. That's an idea. I don't know how they react with 77-degree temperatures and full sun on a day like today. But yeah, they're getting to the point where I think they're, the roots and the top portion of the plant are all working together in unison, and they're old enough now that they don't need to be babied. So let me end it there before I just keep on rambling on. This is New England Gardening, and today is Saturday, March 7th, 2020. Just a quick look at the figs and the lean-to and the cuttings that I have started so far. Thanks for watching.